Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to Mecha Gaikotsu versus the Backlog Mountain, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Avalanche Dash unit for using with the Gundam Astraea Type F. Now, if you haven't seen the review for the Gundam Astraea Type F and Type F2, that came out yesterday, and you can check that out in advance just to know all about that kit. This is a sold separate option that came out at the exact same time that's going to beef this Astraea up to the next big old level. Anyway, as usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those fantastic people over at Bai, so I'll leave all the information that you need to know to get your own down there in the description. So first up, just a bit of a note on the build. So pretty much everything that is inside of this box you would have seen before with the Master Grade Gundam Exia Dash. So it's pretty much the same as that, just recolored. That does mean there is some extras in here, which I will not be able to speak about today because I don't have the time. I'm versus the backlog right now, so I'm more touching on kits rather than deep diving like I usually would. So here's a picture I got off the Schizophonic 9 blog, which shows everything that is left over in here. If you build this kit with some of the Exia parts, you could make a standard Avalanche unit that would fit onto this more than likely, but as for the leftover parts that are just the non-dash version of the Avalanche unit, they can't be used straight out of box onto this, because of the different GN drive around back and front skirts up front. But anyway, as for what we do get in here, we do get that full crystal green action base, which is very nice. This is once again the same as what we would have seen with the Avalanche Exia Dash, and all the equipment in here builds up ever so nicely. The Exia Dash that this is based on came out in 2019, which is 9 years after the actual Exia kit itself, so there is none of that ABS that we would have seen in the frame of the Exia. This is all nice, from what I can see, polystyrene plastic that is easy to cut out, easy to put together, and just feels so perfect. These parts are super nice, super nice. If you haven't tried out the Exia Dash, or even this kit right here, I recommend the Avalanche unit is a kick-ass unit. Anyway, all goes together perfect. I enjoy the build. Now let's check out what it's all like built. Finally, this right here is what you get once everything is put together, and honestly, that red and yellow combination is subconsciously making me hungry, but as for what we do get in here, we get that beautiful crystal green full action base with all of the nice sparkly GN particles running through it, so this will match side by side with the Master Grade Exia Dash perfectly. On top of that, we've got the big old shoulder units with lots of nice paneling, the arm units as well, which will attach onto the arms. I'll talk about the format you need to build the Astraea Type F in order to attach all this stuff on. Next up in here then, we've got the waist unit, once again looking very nice points for a round back. We've got the absolutely giant leg units, which really are the show stealers inside of this box. There's a whole lot going on, including some sub-arms, and finally then we've got this little attachment part for attaching the shield round back. Anyway, that is enough of looking at what we get in the box. Let's get it attached onto the Astraea. So anyway, here is the Astraea exactly the way I left it off yesterday, which is in the F format. So that is the earlier format, as in not the upgraded to kind of like Exia format. So we've got a bunch of stuff all over the place that will need to come off for attaching on the Avalanche Dash unit. Now, you might be familiar with the way these kind of manuals work, some people may not be. So if you get one kit that is an add-on for another kit, you get these kind of funny instructions which tell you to continue on after following step 4.6 from the standard manual. So that means you have to go to the standard manual and go all the way as far as 4.6 right here, built in the F2 format, which means you have to have the GN condensers in there, which is not what I have because I have the hard points, so it's time to swap out the arms. So that means it is exactly the opposite to what we did do yesterday, and that means pop off the armor, which removes the hard point. Now I need to attach in the clear lens and the outer GN condenser part before popping the armor back on without the hard point. Do this on both sides, and now the arms are ready for the dash unit. Up to the shoulders, and these are built exactly the same way as they are right here without the interior section here, so I assume you can just pop that off like here, and then pop off the other side, just like so. When it comes to the legs, it is a little bit more confusing because it says you begin this step following 7.3, and then you do all these parts right here, and then continue on from part 7.8. So this is the part that just takes place midway through steps. You're going manual, manual, manual. How this actually affects what I'm working on, I guess it's time to find out. And after all of that, it seems to be as simple as popping this off, and then this off. That is it. So when it comes to the butt flap, we also have to remove those huge long segments, which is a shame because these are absolutely glorious looking, have great color separation and some nice clear parts. Now at first I thought these would be a little bit difficult because of the way you build this makes it seem like a very intricate part, but once you actually get the flaps off, you see that it's not that difficult. You just kind of pop it like this, almost like you're removing the little segment that is attaching on the beam sabers, because that is where it would have attached. Simple enough, and then pop it all back on like so. Now, it's ready for the Avalanche dash parts. Let's get this kit beefed up. So now just working through it in the order that it is in the manual, so that is arms first. So here is the unit, just split it in half. Take this little segment that pops into that little GN particle port in the front of the arm like so, and then it's just half and the other half popping on until we've got that beauty right there. So once again, that's that part popping into the front port, side segment just mounting then onto that, flipping around, open that arm, and then this side just mounts onto the exact same place, completing this circle just like that. So anyway, there it is with the Avalanche unit arms attached, just in case you wanted to see what this looks like, just with some nice big old forearm attachments onto the shoulders. So next up in here, we've got the shoulder unit. So this is where the shoulder attaches the front. Round rear, we've got this section here with the GN vernier thruster there. We've got another one hidden away in this little segment that opens up just like so. This part can also close up and rotate forward and back. This is a nice design. So to attach this, you just remove 2 bits of armor. If you're assembling it the way it is in the instructions, these will already be not attached. Get the shoulder you need because I've got the wrong one. And then this just attaches into that little slot on the shoulder, just like that. So then you just attach on the front and the rear segment of these armor panels, which lock everything into position. Now you do exactly the same on the other side, that is attach on the whole shoulder segment into the slot on the shoulder, pop the front and rear armor on, and there you go, finished. We also have 2 segments up top for attaching the beam saber handles into, and these attach on great, but I will mention one aspect about these shoulder armor segments. And that is the fact that this little segment in here, see this little hooked segment right here? Well, that in the Exia actually attaches onto where the beam sabers were, where there's a little part to attach to. So on this, it is vestigial. It doesn't really get in the way or do anything, just thought you might want to know. So anyway, there's what the Gundam Astraea looks like with the shoulders and the arms attached. So as you can see, it's getting bigger and bulkier as the parts go on. So now it's time to move down to the waist. Also, there's the back, by the way, in case you want to see that too. This has a real cool samurai aesthetic. Digging that a lot. So now around to the butt flap to extend that to a bigger, badder butt flap. And in order to do that, you need to attach this little adapter on here. This attaches into the 2 segments we just fiddled around with earlier on. These are where the beam sabers would have attached before, or at least the part that attached to the part that attached to the beam sabers. After this, then we've got another little segment which cuffs on over that, finally followed by the big old massive butt flap right here. As beautiful as this is, it's not quite as nice as the Astraea's own butt flap with the nice green, clear, luminescent parts. But still, it looks pretty cool. So anyway, there's a little bit of a quick turnaround of what it looks like with all that attached. So it's getting big buff up top. It's time to add some mass to the bottom. And starting off with the little segments for back here. So now moving down to one of the legs, and first off I will mention you're meant to attach this little segment onto the back, but as well as that I forgot to mention that you need to take the knee armor off. So this is it stripped down all the way. Like I mentioned, this part pops on to the back just like so. Flipping it around to this side. This part here then attaches into the GN condenser just like that. Straighten out the legs so everything is angled out just right. This part then attaches on like so. Let's see if I can get that to balance there. That'll do. We've got this lower bit of armor which attaches onto the knee like so. This upper part slots in here, then attaches up like that. And there's our big old knee armor. And finally, locking it all finally into place with this bit of side armor right here. And then this can come up just like so for that big old awesome armored leg. So getting that leg back on, or should I say the other leg, because I just attached the armor to the second leg. And finally, this is what it looks like with everything attached. And I have to say, I am absolutely blown away by how cool this looks. Let's get this thing spinning. So anyway, there's the full 360-degree spin of the Astraea Type F with the Avalanche Dash unit attached. This is ridiculously cool looking. What actually blows me away the most is just how different this looks with the Avalanche Dash unit on it than the Exia actually did. The Exia's blue, white, and yellow was almost stippled all over the place. There wasn't as much of the colors bringing it all together as it is here with the monochromatic red. Sure, there are 2 shades of red, but everything looks so gelled together. This doesn't look like a Gundam to me with the unit on it, more so just one big boss of a Gundam. Like I mentioned, we are missing a few bits around back that we would have seen with the Avalanche Exia Dash, but instead we have that ridiculously cool GN drive with the 3 sticking out points with those nice clear green parts inside of it. This looks so damn good, and we haven't even gotten it into the air yet. So I guess in this review what I'm going to do is get this up on the base, put it in exactly the same pose I have the Avalanche Exia Dash in, and we'll compare the 2 of them. But there is one thing I will mention about this, and it's the same with the Avalanche Exia Dash. And that is the fact that you're actually able to see in through the knee here into the actual inner workings of the model kit. So you can actually see the pegs that would have been holding on the original armor inside of there, which is not the prettiest thing around. You can modify that yourself so it doesn't look like that. But yeah, besides that, this thing is ridiculously glorious. This is one hell of a Gundam. Let's get it up on the action base in the air, and we'll compare it to Exia. So once again, this action base is included in here. As far as I know, it is exclusive, so that is in the nice green with the GN particles inside of it, which is glitter, I guess. And we just use the base adapter we got with the Avalanche Exia. Pops up there. Sorry, Avalanche, no. Avalanche, nothing. It came with the Astraea. And speaking of the Astraea, it's time to pop that on to the action base adapter, so that should just clip in, simple as. In here we've got this adapter segment then that just pops into the butt flap like so. We've got an attachment point here for using with the Exia style shield. Once again, this comes with the Astraea itself. So anyway, there is the Avalanche Exia Dash right here. So I'm going to get this in the exact same configuration, or at least as close as possible to that, as well as the same pose so we can compare them together. But anyway, there's a bit of a comparison already. So that means we need the GN sword, and we also need to get these arm segments, these sub-arms down below, unfolded. So anyway, grabbing the GN sword from the Gundam Astraea full weapon set, this attaches in just the way we would have seen before. So that is into the hand, then you need to angle this little segment so it attaches into the new little port in the arm right there. So that goes in like that. So anyway, there's a quick look of what it looks like with that GN sword attached. So next up, it's time to unfurl those leg segments, which are one of my favorite aspects of the Avalanche Dash unit. So moving this down into the lower position is simple and effective. You just swing it round like so. We've got an opening segment here with an additional GN vernier in yellow. Bring it down underneath the foot like so, and we also have a little bit more articulation here, which allows these little flap or footrest segments to pop up like this. So there is a lot going on, and I haven't even mentioned the sub-arms yet. So in the ends of both of the feet, we've got very, very detailed sub-arms. So these can swing open with one little manipulator finger down on the bottom, and then we've got a combination of 2 manipulator fingers up top. We even have a little bit of articulation that allows the arm segment to move down and up, just like that. And when they are fully open up, inside the center of that, then we do have a little hole, which is for using with a beam, saber beam. So open that up all the way like so, and that can attach in like this. How cool is that? So now we've even got some awesome little arms that, well, I guess can be used for kicks. That is pretty cool. These are some of the coolest looking sub-arms around, and they are very, very nicely designed. So now after swinging the second of those space skis slash sub-arms around to the front, we've pretty much got it in the exact same configuration as the Avalanche Exia Dash. So let's give them both a quick spin for a bit of a comparison. And honestly, these are such cool kits. I did, however, notice that the arm on my Exia is starting to sag a little bit. Now, when I built this, I did tighten up all the joints in the legs, which I always recommend with the Master Grade Exia. What I didn't realize is the joint which is attaching the arm and shoulder into the chest, that is also a little bit on the loose side too. So it seems like with the Exia, it is always good to tighten up as many of the moving parts as possible, so you've got yourself a nice solid kit. Otherwise, you may end up with some floppage over time, but not the worst by any means, especially when it's not trying to stand up. So what can I say? In the end, the Avalanche Dash unit for the Gundam Astraea Type F, or should I say the Astraea Type F, with the unit attached, is one phenomenal looking kit. This looks ridiculous. It's just like the Exia in a lot of ways, of course, but there's something about that red color scheme that just screams awesomeness. That and the fact that the face is covered up with that Astraea style mask. This is one cool kit. Of course, like I mentioned, it's not without its issues. Being based on the classic Master Grade Exia, you do have to put a little bit of extra work in while you're building it, but still, if you do that, you will end up with a phenomenal, awesome kit that will look killer up on your shelf. Anyway, if you do want one of your own, as always, link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, this video and every video would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches my videos. And special thanks to those of you who are supporting me over on Patreon and on the channel members, including Caleb Engelhart, Global Frequency Studios, Go Little Rockstar, Gunpla UK Limited, Joe, Kill Me Inc., Lauren Seahack, RG59061, and Van Fawn. I just realized right here at the end of the review that I forgot to mention one of the most important aspects, and that is the compatibility with the actual leftover full weapon set we would have got. So I'm going to just gloss over it real quick, just to give you a general idea. Big weapons like this, sure they could be used, they might clash with the armor a little bit, but they can be used. Proto GN Sword, the arm has changed, so that will not attach on anymore. So Proto GN Sword, sadly no. This right here, it would probably fit, so you could probably use it. The articulation would be a little bit restricted, but I'm sure the GN launcher will work. Anything like the holster right here that would have attached onto the hardpoints, all of those are gone now. So this, the missile container, all of that you can't use on the hardpoints. But anything with a handle will. Well, this won't fit unless you take off the part connecting to the arm right here. So, well, that part from the arm is gone, so that won't work. The GN swords, those will work. They did work with the Exia Avalanche Dash. If you want to attach them, the parts in the cylinders in the hips can still come out to attach them. The missile pod, like I said, no hardpoint, but the missile pods do come with a handle, so they could be held in the hand. And the pistols, these are handheld, so of course, you could pop them into the hand, and you'll be good to go.